So letting you know, I got a very small cold, so if I just suddenly die during the middle of this video, that's exactly what happened. What started as a simple addition to Team Fortress 2 turned free-to-play has evolved into an economic powerhouse, supplying the game both its own internal revenue source and external supplementary bonuses to the community behind its many creations. Or, without sounding like a jerk about it, how money be made here. But what this video is about is what it took away from Team Fortress 2, and I'm going to speak as much from experience and objectivity as possible, but do note that my personal biases are against unboxing, but I still do it myself for reasons I will explain or rant about later. Before I say what it took away from the game though, I'll first frame the question of the title of the video with some positive context. What did crates bring to Team Fortress 2? Well, they brought with us unusuals, stranges, community created cases, community backed update cases, new grades, trade-ups, war paints, unique weapon skins, and the most obvious, game revenue and community created monetary support. Fun fact, we already know crafting almost all of this stuff is a good idea because Valve did it, just years later in hindsight. Like a high schooler reconciling with an old misunderstood friend. Or Reese's finally putting a dump truck amount of Reese's in a singular bag. The head taker was a craftable unusual, right? Strangers are craftable, trade-ups are basically just metal crafting, but with items instead. Unique weapon skins already exist as rare craftable variants, and bread boxes reduced that craft hats by several miles, and here's the problem with all of that. That stuff was never really integrated into Team Fortress 2. It was more like it was tacked on, like a cool drawing on a fridge, or what's basically left of my car's side view mirror. What we're really left with is an underutilized crafting system that's not even alphabetized for ham's sake. Multiple underused alternative crafting methods, artificially rare unusuals that are valuable in name only, artificially rare hats because Valve made them rarer, and my biggest peeve is that community workshop creators were treated like slot machines. If there's anything about unboxing that I've come to dislike over the years, it is this aspect. Community cosmetic creators deserve to be put up in the Manco store to be purchased individually, just like taunts and map stamps already do. And yeah, map stamps need to be a better incentive, you got me there, but give me a moment to get myself crucified on the internet, because I'm gonna compare video games. Let me bring up a game that does this correctly, in my mind. Warframe. To support their community workshop creator, you don't pay a premium currency, which they have. By the way, TF2 has keys, which is basically a premium currency at this point, and you gotta buy it with real money. There, you have it. It's instant. You don't gotta trade for it, no nothing. You buy it with real money, you get it. Now, you gotta have the character in Warframe to use it, which means that the player has to invest in both the game and the creator, but the creator influences the purchase, which in turn makes the game want to include more creators. The only difference in Warframe is that you may not have the character at the get-go, but Warframe's an MMO. You gotta have unlockables. And boobs. Any boob. Team Fortress 2, you open up a box, and now you supported like
39.
But you didn't get the item you wanted, probably, and okay, supporting
39.
creators sounds good at first glance, right? That's way more than Warframe's one creator, but here's kind of the key difference here. Let's use some simple hypothetical maths. If a Warframe skin creator makes 10,000 sales at $5 with a 50% cut, meaning they earn $25,000, a Team Fortress 2 case would have to sell 208,000 cases to meet the same $25,000 per creator. Why? Because that $2.50 per key is split between Valve and the creators. Again, in a simple maths to help you understand it with a 50% cut example, $2.50 cut by 50% is 1.25, which is then divided amongst 10 creators, so each one earns about 12 cents per key sale. and those are just example numbers. If we've learned anything about the Invasion update, it's that Valve actually let creators take 100% of the revenue from the past when you bought it. And it was actually the crates that Valve took 90% from of the sale of the key. Sorry, I could have said that better. No, it's actually the keys where Valve took like 90% of the sale. So it's never clear-cut how Valve actually operates. It's usually for the better, but this information is never clearly stated on any of the update pages.
Hi, my name is Cosmic Afro, and I'm in my red post-editing shirt as opposed to my blue filming shirt. Now, somebody from the YouTube comments will probably smartly point out that if you go to the Steam Community Workshop, you will see that community contributors will earn 25% from a sale. But how can that be possible if there are 39 creators per case? I think as a community, we deserve to know exactly how much a creator is earning percentage-wise from a crate. That way we can tell exactly how much of that money is going to Valve and how much of that is going to the community. I think some transparency in that is pretty important, and I think that you should think that that is pretty important too. Hi, my name is Cosmic Afro, and I'm in my green editing shirt, which means that this is a post edit. Now, the more astute and perceptive commenters of YouTube will notice that it says the direct sale of items will receive that 25%. And this is true of items that do end up on the Manco store, as far as I'm aware, namely items like, well, taunts and map stamps. However, community cosmetics beyond the year 2012 are not given that permission and instead have been delegated to community cases. This is something of a really important distinction that we're going to be talking about later in this video. Okay, that's the whole point of this part. I just wanted to make sure that I got all my bases covered. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job so far. We'll see how the rest of this video turns out.
So I went through every update that introduced a new community case. Zilch. Not one made it expressly clear how much that they made. That's important. A customer deserves to know exactly what they're paying for. Warframe, they slapped that info right there. Creators make 30% per sale. Boom. You can Google search it. It's right there. So, after 5 minutes of ranting, here's what I think unboxing took away from Team Fortress 2 the most. Honesty and transparency for community creators. I genuinely believe that putting creators' skins and hats inside of a community crate and having people gamble over somebody else's hard work is kind of scummy. If Valve wants people to gamble on their own creations by people who are hired at Valve who choose to make these items because Valve's own internal structure says do what you want, that's fine. They chose this for their game, but that also means that they chose to put other people's hard work behind randomness, and over the years the practice has not changed in a positive light. You could still open a gunmetal case if you can find one and support that creator. Done. But what about these community crates? Why can't I support these guys anymore? Why are there artificial grades when all cosmetics used to be equal chance? Why is it that anyone who lands in a winter case gets 6 months of drop time for the cases, while anyone in the summer and Halloween gets 1 to 2 months of drop time, and by default, substantially less cases and therefore less opportunities for people to buy their product? Yeah, these cases are still on the market for God knows how long, that's true. But the triple length of time people have access to and therefore are influenced to purchase these crates, including newcomers to Team Fortress 2 who don't know any better, is objectively unfair to those who not only had a limited release time, but also a limited purchase time too. God, I am sorry. I yelled about this for maybe way too long. And maybe this sounds stupid, but I want to support creators. I don't know why that would sound stupid, just the way that I said it maybe did. I unbox now because supporting people's good work is always, well, good. But once I realized how much Valve does this part worse, it's basically a mess of unethical decisions. And I wouldn't even mind it so much in the end if creators could opt in and say, Manco store only, or yes, I would like this in a crate, and oh, you can only buy these items that you can gamble for if you agree to being 18, and if you're found fraudulent, your account may be suspended from future purchases until you turn 18. Then whatever. You're an adult. Buy what you want. If you want to buy ice cream that's bad for you, I ain't gonna stop you. Anyways, Jesus, crafting. If Valve wasn't swayed with their first free-to-play iteration and introduced more robust crafting methods, we'd see more interesting items overall. I could throw fun what-ifs at you all day long for more engaging crafting methods. Like, for example, where you needed 25 copies of the exact same weapon to make a strange version, which doesn't seem like a lot individually, but here's some math on the screen to satisfy you. You could get through all of high school and never get every single strange weapon on your own. Next example, where if in order to trade up all the way to an elite grade item, you would need incrementally less level to get from civilian to elite. Where contracts can only drop up to mercenary grade items, meaning commando plus and higher has to be player made. Where community created hats were introduced to the Manco store and buying a one-time bundle per account to support all creators at a slight discount. Bot hats would still be uncraftable, so they can't be put into the system. Where, if a player earns a weapon for the first time, they gain a stock version of it in addition, so that they can actually use their inventory for inventory, and never be potentially skill checked behind a paywall, because no free-to-play can hold every single weapon, and they should not be punished like that if we truly want to say that there is no skill difference between pay-to-play and free-to-play. Because there is. It's very small, but it's there, and we could do something about it. Earning unique hats behind more limited creations, where creators can make limited time sets. People paying $1 to $5 for access to a bread box type crafting, where people earn their hats. But it's basically draining the economy at a ratio of 3-to-1 items, and people opt into it. We have so much opportunity, is what I'm saying. We have so much opportunity for fair randomness and crafting, where the feeling of loot being earned could still come from being random, but with some expected outcomes, where we have items dedicated to crafting like tokens that basically see no use today, because there's already so many copies of an item that by the time you earn what you have to make them, you could just outright buy it instead of risking it on chance. The one thing that I've heard the most about why this maybe wouldn't work is because Valve would make less money off of a system like this overall. And before the advent of the Steam market almost a decade ago, you would be correct. Crates were an okay addition in the beginning of Team Fortress 2 because it was Valve-only items. In fact, the first two cases weren't even strange. They were literally just weapons. But once we hit the Steam market, Valve makes a profit off of each individual sale, and that item can be resold. Stranges, if they were unboxed early on, saw balance because inexpensive stranges were...
So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it right here, because for about 6 minutes after the fact, I've ranted about the same things, just in different words, and I'm just not even gonna do that, alright? I want to reiterate a key point of this video. I believe that all content creators for Team Fortress 2 deserve transparency, and they deserve the honesty to be sold on the Manco store for their product, for their work, and not to be gambled with other people. This isn't something that I really thought to include about in the video at the time, but I'm going to go ahead and include it here, and that is the importance of bad product being mixed with good product. And we saw this within the last year's Warpaint case, where there were Warpaints that very clearly not only had clip art in it, but also just Photoshop filters and just blurs, and they had no real... They weren't cognizant, I guess I would say, of being a product in Team Fortress 2. They were just a skin that was there to look pretty and not really even fit the theme. And I find that's particularly egregious with people who do work on their product, who do make excellent war paints, who do put some thought into it to try and make it look good. But unfortunately, whenever there's bad product mixed in with good product, and I'm not saying that these creators don't have good war paints and that they're bad creators. No, I'm only trying to say that individual product, when that is mixed in with people's creations who do get in, that's clear that it has a lot more effort and thought put into it. That is really unfortunate, because I will see that case and I'll say, there's a really big chance that I'm gonna pay for this and I'm not going to get something that I would rather have instead. I think every item in a case, if we're going to have them, should be of the highest quality, but I still don't think it's a good idea the way that things are structured now. I really just want the crafting system to be touched up in Team Fortress 2 because unboxing has done it a huge disservice. We have more metal in this community than is necessary because we don't have anywhere to spend it because all of that effort has just been put into shoving cosmetics into a crate. We used to have a lot of options, and they were seasonal options about how to spend it, but we don't really have that anymore. And I would like to return to an older system like that. My favorite example from this video is, hey, if 10 creators want to get together and say, hey, we're totally fine, Valve, if you sell these hats for a very limited time, except people have to craft them, but it's only like, you know, you put in two to three refined metal, and then you get a hat. And that would be the perfect solution for when the metal economy gets too high. That would simply be it. That would be the perfect solution. You don't have to worry about anything else. We have room to improve this game and not shove everything into cosmetic cases, and we have room to make more decisions that help the longevity of our, not only our game's economy, but our game's player base and the entry of that. So that is really what I wanted to iterate with this video. This one was very experimental. If you liked it, let me know. I learned a lot about this video about what I want to do, and I'm probably not going to do the whole Cosmic drawing himself stuff as much. But I do have ideas that I really liked that I had in the middle. This is like, oh man, what if I did it this way during the production of the video? But that's entirely okay. Thank you very much for watching, and yeah. Can we please get an alphabetized crafting list? At the end of it, could they just do that one thing?